William Shatner finally comes clean about James Doohan at the age of 94. On March 22, 1931, William Shatner was born in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Joseph and Anne Shatner, William Allen Shatner's parents, brought him up in a Jewish home. He showed a natural aptitude for performing and intellectual curiosity from a young age. While studying economics at McGill University, he also cultivated a developing love for theater. It was there that he realized the transformational potential of acting as a way to explore human character, morals, and creativity, rather than just as a kind of entertainment. Shatner had previously trained as an actor and started acting on stage after graduating, setting the groundwork for what would turn out to be an incredibly flexible career. Shatner's early career was influenced by classical theater, especially his involvement with the Stratford Festival in Canada, where he co-starred with some of the best performers of the time in Shakespearean roles. He developed a mastery of language, presence, and vocal precision as a result of this foundation in classical performance, which would later become characteristics of his cinematic work. His shift to television and movies in the 1950s and early 1960s was characterized by a string of supporting parts and cameos, such as roles in Judgment at Nuremberg, The Twilight Zone, and Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Even before he achieved global acclaim, these parts demonstrated an actor's capacity for intensity, intelligence, and emotional nuance. Shatner's casting as Captain James T. Kirk in Star Trek in 1966 marked the definitive arrival of that celebrity. Shatner developed one of the most recognizable personalities in television history as the ebullient and morally upright commander of the spaceship Enterprise. His portrayal of Kirk, a captain characterized by bravery, moral conviction, and a strong faith in human potential, contributed to Star Trek's transformation from science fiction entertainment into a philosophical and cultural phenomenon. The show provided a positive outlook on the future during a period of social unrest by highlighting diversity, collaboration, and moral responsibility. Shatner's performance, which struck a balance between intelligence and emotion, as well as authority and vulnerability, was essential to that concept. Despite having poor ratings at first and being canceled after 3 seasons, Star Trek had a remarkable afterlife. The franchise became a worldwide institution through syndication, fan conventions, movies, and later television spin-offs. In 7 Star Trek feature films, Shatner played Captain Kirk again, letting the character grow older, change, and eventually face death. An exceptional chance for an actor to fully inhabit a fictional life. The ceremonial handoff of the baton to a new generation was marked by the controversy and awe surrounding his final appearance as Kirk in Star Trek Generations 1994. While preserving Shatner's heritage, William Shatner faced a dilemma that few performers are ready for following the sudden termination of Star Trek in 1969. He was confronted with the dual challenges of iconic celebrity, which entails both global recognition and limited opportunities. After becoming inextricably associated to Captain James T. Kirk in the public consciousness, Shatner, who was once the dominant face of a cultural phenomenon, went through a time of professional insecurity as casting directors found it difficult to look past the Starfleet uniform. But instead of running away, he adjusted. He threw himself into television work during this period of change, showcasing his versatility in shows like The Andersonville Trial, the brief but fashionable adventure series Barber Coast, and even the game show circuit with appearances on the Hollywood squares. In a field that frequently changes swiftly, these responsibilities kept him visible, astute, and resilient, even though they lacked the grandeur of Star Trek. When the movie Star Trek was released in 1979, things started to drastically change. In addition to the franchise's successful comeback, the movie signaled Shatner's career's comeback. Returning to the USS Enterprise's bridge as Captain Kirk, he recovered the position that had previously defined and imprisoned him, but this time on his own terms. Because of the film's success, Shatner was able to repeat the character in 6 more Star Trek feature films, solidifying his place as one of the genre's most enduring leading men. He also embraced lighthearted self-parody outside of the official franchise, making appearances as exaggerated Captain Kirk in movies like National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1 and Airplane 2, the sequel, demonstrating a keen sense of humor and a readiness to make fun of his own mythology. With the television show T.J. Hooker in 1982, Shatner reinvented himself once more. As the rugged, streetwise police sergeant, he demonstrated his ability to anchor a gritty, action-packed drama while shedding the elements of science fiction. In addition to performing, he directed a number of episodes, broadening his creative impact behind the camera. Shatner was introduced to a new generation of viewers during the 5 seasons of the show. As the host of the enduring true crime series Rescue 911, he established himself as a recognizable and reliable figure in American living rooms in 1989. The 7-year show, which acted out actual emergency scenarios, featured Shatner in a more composed, commanding persona that was a stark contrast to his previous, more dramatic roles. Shatner also experimented with writing as a creative outlet around this time. He co-created and wrote the Tech War series, starting with the novel Tech War, based on his passion for science fiction and futurism. His capacity to leave a lasting impact beyond acting alone was further demonstrated by the novel's economic success and subsequent adaptations into television movies and a brief television series. His portrayal of the flamboyant, egotistical lawyer Denny Crane on The Practice was one of the most notable late-career changes. With its blend of conceit, tenderness, and razor-sharp wit, what started out as a recurrent role swiftly became a breakout performance that enthralled audiences. The role was so well-liked that it served as the basis for the 2004 spin-off series Boston Legal, where Shatner's work won numerous accolades and received great praise from critics. His portrayal was hailed as one of the best of his career, redefining him as a highly accomplished character actor as well as a television star. With the publication of his autobiography, Up Till Now, in 2008, Shatner offered insight into his remarkable life and career. The book reinforced the idea of a man who refused to be constrained by expectations by giving readers an unvarnished look at his successes, setbacks, goals, and reinventions. He has continued to be remarkably active in the years thereafter, making appearances in several TV series, documentaries, movies, and public initiatives. William Shatner has continued to grow rather than fade into nostalgia, demonstrating that reinvention, more than just stardom, is the real key to success in Hollywood. Shatner has become an unexpected spokesperson for inquiry and discovery in more recent years. His passion for science, technology, and the future inspired him to host documentaries and participate in public discussions on innovation, space, and the role of humanity in the cosmos. He became the oldest person to journey into space in 2021 when he was 90 years old, using Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. The heartbreaking conclusion of a lifetime spent envisioning the universe, the emotional gravity of that moment, and his thoughts on the frailty of Earth and the quiet of space struck a profound chord with viewers worldwide. Like his illustrious work, his personal life developed over several decades, filled with love, hope, heartbreak, and incredible fortitude. He married actress Gloria Rand on August 12, 1956, at the start of his ascent to fame, starting what many thought would be a lifetime marriage. They started a family together and had 3 children who would play a significant and long-lasting role in his life. Their 13-year marriage ended in divorce after enduring the strains of Hollywood, celebrity, and demanding professions, a subtle yet important turning moment in his life. He married Marcy Lafferty in 1973 after falling in love once more, starting what would turn out to be his longest marriage. Their partnership, which lasted more than 20 years, saw both successes and setbacks as his work changed and his public profile increased. Their union symbolized a time of stability and companionship even though they did not have children together. However, the marriage ended in 1996 after 23 years, ending a crucial period in his life. Soon afterward came the most sad tale of them. He wed actress Naren Kidd in 1997. Their union was passionate, but unfortunately marred by personal hardships. Tragedy struck just 2 years later when Kidd drowned in a swimming pool, partly due to Valium and alcohol. His perspective on love, death, and the frailty of life would be permanently shaped by the emotional scar caused by the abrupt, terrible, and well-publicized loss. Even though he was grieving deeply, he refused to turn away from the prospect of love. He embraced a fresh start based on friendship and affection when he wed Elizabeth Joyce Martin in 2001. The pair eventually split up in 2020, but their nearly 2-decade marriage is a tribute to perseverance and care for one another. William Shatner, who is 94 years old, has reached a point in his life where introspection comes easily and self-control is no longer seen as required. Time has sharpened perspective and tempered old rivalries. With that clarity, Shatner has now discussed his long-standing Star Trek co-star James Doohan in an open and sincere manner. Fans perceived friction between the two men for decades, a separation that didn't seem to fit with the on-screen friendliness. Shatner has now, in the latter stages of his life and profession, chosen candor above prudence, exposing a more nuanced, compassionate, and giving reality than the gossip that once surrounded them. Shatner has admitted that the environment on the original Star Trek set was not always peaceful when reflecting on their early years together. Suddenly, fame came. Long hours under extreme strain magnified every insult, and egos were brittle. All of us were young men thrust into something far greater than ourselves. Shatner took stock. None of us could have predicted that Star Trek would grow into a cultural icon when it first started. All we were doing was attempting to make it through the work, the demands, and ourselves. Misunderstandings were unavoidable in that setting. Furthermore, Shatner acknowledges that he did not always see Doohan fairly or clearly. James Doohan, who played the adored Montgomery Scotty Scott, added humor, tenderness, and subdued professionalism to the stage. Shatner acknowledges, however, that he initially misjudged him. Jimmy kept his talent to himself, and I wasn't always aware of what he was doing. That's on me, he remarked. I was preoccupied with putting on a show, and occasionally I overlooked the kindness that was there next to me. Shatner's emotional maturity, shaped by decades of hindsight, is evident in his statements, which represent a dramatic shift from his previous defensiveness. As the years went by and Star Trek became a worldwide sensation, Doohan's relationship with fans became clear. Now, rather than expressing jealousy, Shatner speaks candidly about seeing that connection. I noticed how everyone around Jimmy brightened up about. He claimed that they loved him, not only Scotty. He was a rare gift because he made them feel seen. Shatner admits that Doohan's influence went much beyond the screen, motivating visionaries, engineers, and astronauts who saw Scotty as a representation of hope and inventiveness. Additionally, Shatner has responded to the widely shared tales of their estrangement with a tone of regret as opposed to denial. He clarified in that, although we were never adversaries, we weren't as close as we could have been, and I regret it. You think there will always be time to say the important things since life goes by so quickly. That unspoken space became permanent with Doohan's death in 2005, leaving Shatner with questions he could no longer ask, and gratitude he could no longer formally express. Now that he is older, Shatner speaks of Doohan with humility and reverence. Jimmy was a better man than anyone ever acknowledged. Silently, he said, despite his wounds from the war and his background, he was humorous and sympathetic. Strength is required for that. Shatner reinterprets their shared past as one of two imperfect guys overcoming incredible circumstances rather than one of rivalry by recognizing Doohan's tenacity and spirit. In the end, Shatner's truth is a realization of humanity rather than a confession of guilt or a rewriting of history. He said, "Thank you for your work, your patience, and for being part of something that changed all our lives." At 94, William Shatner's words carry the weight of experience and the grace of acceptance, providing fans with a moving reminder that even legends continue to grow, learn, and reflect long after the last curtain has fallen. If I could speak to him now, I would say, "Thank you."